guys, and welcome to the latest episode of Mr. Ashodi's Snapshot Science. Now in today's episode we're going to be looking at kidney dialysis versus kidney transplant. Now hopefully by the end of this video you're able to 1. Explain how dialysis and transplants overcome kidney failure. We then want to go on to analyse the similarities and differences between dialysis and usual kidney function. And finally we want to evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of each treatment. So hold on to your kidneys, here we go. Now, in the last video we spoke about the kidneys and the role of the kidneys being to clean the blood, to essentially filter the blood, okay? Predominantly from any excess water, excess salts, and all of the urea that is in the blood, okay? Because these are our waste products, these need to be excreted. Now, sometimes we can have some problems with the kidneys, okay? We can have kidney stones, okay, which is due to high salt and mineral content in your diet. Okay, so be careful if you're eating foods high in salt. Okay, it is extremely painful, and these kidney stones actually have to be excreted in the urine. Okay, so it's not a nice thing. Okay, then we look at renal damage or renal failure. Okay, so essentially your kidneys giving up. Okay, now this means that the kidneys are no longer able to filter the blood effectively. This could be due to 1, the plasma not properly being reabsorbed, or it could be due to proteins and cells passing through the Bowman's capsule, okay? Now, or the renal capsule. Remember we said it was the same thing. However, guys, okay, if we was to look at somebody who had renal failure and we was to do a test on their urine, okay, that the healthy person should have no protein, no glucose, no amino acids in their urine. However, they should still have urea and some mineral ions in their urine, because obviously we want to excrete the waste products. Okay? However, the urine of a person with kidney failure, kidney disease, will show signs of protein being in their urine. Okay, this is an issue, and this shows that protein is actually, if we go back to the last slide, all right, passing through to the Bowman's capsule, and that's a big issue right there. Okay, so one way of telling if somebody has kidney failure is actually by testing their urine for protein. Okay, now you can live with 1 kidney, that's fine. However, what do you do if you have both kidneys which are essentially not working effectively? Okay, you have 2 options which we're going to look at today. You have dialysis, and you also have transplantation. So you can get a kidney transplant if you're lucky enough to find a working kidney. Okay, so let's look at and compare the 2. Now, when we look at dialysis, guys, we're predominantly going to be looking at, and in your assessments, hemodialysis. Now, hemodialysis is the process of removing waste and excess fluid from the blood using an artificial machine, okay? And it essentially filters the blood. So instead of the blood going via the kidneys to be filtered or cleaned, the blood is taken via a vein, okay, to this machine, which uses a semi-permeable membrane to essentially filter the blood and essentially allow the urea to pass through to get out, okay, but it doesn't allow the glucose to go through. And we're going to look at how this actually works in particular, okay? So, I would have to, okay, attend a hospital several times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, okay? And I would have to be hooked up to this machine. Don't forget, this is hemodialysis, all right? And connected to my veins, all right, will be tubing, and essentially this tubing will remove blood for cleaning, okay? The blood is going to be filtered. The blood will pass through this dialysis machine. It will be filtered, okay? And then the clean blood, the filtered blood, will pass back into the arm. Okay, so let's go over here now. Let's look specifically what happens when the blood is being filtered in the dialysis machine. Now, what will happen is blood will be flowing through the machine. Now, you have this partially permeable membrane. It lets some things through and some things not, and that's at an advantage. Okay? Now, on this side, okay, of the blood, you have dialysis fluid. Now, this dialysis fluid, okay, is essentially what is going to allow the diffusion of urea and salts, etc. So let's look at it, okay? Any excess salt moves out of the blood because there's a higher concentration of salt inside the blood here, okay, compared to here. So the salt will diffuse down its concentration gradient. okay, there should be no urea also in the dialysis fluid. Okay, so therefore urea will move from a higher concentration over here to a lower concentration over here. Okay, so the urea as well will diffuse down its concentration gradient. Okay, so the dialysis fluid, essentially, which is on this side, okay, of the tubing, should be low in salt and have no urea in it. Okay, and that would therefore allow the tube to diffuse down their concentration gradient. Okay, however, the sugar and mineral ions concentration, okay, should be the same as the blood, and this will mean that there is no net movement, okay, and therefore we are not losing essential glucose to dialysis. Okay, so we're losing and all of the urea and any excess salts, okay, out of the blood, but we're keeping our sugars and minerals. Okay, now this is what it looks like inside this dialysis machine, guys. Essentially, the blood is being pumped through, okay, and the blood is being filtered. Instead of the blood passing through the kidneys to be filtered, the filtration is happening in the dialysis machine. Okay, so pause this video and make a sketch of what's going on. Now, guys, this dialysis, as we just said, okay, the sugar, there's no net movement of sugars, but we have a net movement of urea. If a person did not attend the hospital regularly to go through dialysis, this person will get very ill. Why? Because there will be a buildup of urea in the blood. This will become a big issue. Therefore, they must attend several times a week. Okay, one dialysis treatment takes several hours as well, 5 to 8 hours it takes. Okay, guys. So if we look, okay, the urea and the excess salts will diffuse out of the blood. If you are on the dialysis, hopefully nobody watching this video has to be on dialysis. If you're on dialysis, you have to watch your diet. Okay, it is very, very important. Okay, make sure that you don't have too many salts, for example, in your diet. But we're going to look at that. Now, as I said before, there are two types of dialysis: hemodialysis, and you also have peritoneal dialysis. Okay, hemodialysis is essentially what we've just looked at. Okay, the common example that you'll see. All right, using a machine as the filter. However, you can also get peritoneal dialysis, and this is essentially a part of the abdomen called the peritoneum, all right, which is used as the actual filter. Okay, and this peritoneum essentially gets rid of the excess urea, etc. So you can have hemodialysis using the conventional machine, but sometimes you may see examples of peritoneal dialysis. So, the other option we said we was going to look at was kidney transplantation, having a kidney transplant. Now, essentially, it's an alternative method to kidney failure. Okay, remember we said you have two. Okay, you can either live with one or you will have to be on dialysis. The better option, okay, is to have a kidney transplant. Okay, therefore you can lead a better quality of life. You don't have to visit the hospital as much. Okay, you don't have to watch your diet, etc. We will compare the two. Okay, now this procedure, getting a transplant, involves taking a kidney from somebody else. This person can either be living or deceased. If the kidney is taken from somebody who is recently deceased, it must be taken very quickly to stop the deterioration of the kidney, okay, as I'm sure you can understand. All right, so this procedure now, surgeons have become very, very successful at doing this, okay? Many people carry donor cards, so in an unfortunate event that something happens to them, the responding medics will know that they agree to their organs and kidneys being taken away quickly to be used and frozen so that they can be used for somebody else. Okay? Now, there are some issues that come about from kidney transplantation. Okay, the first thing is, the tissue of the kidney must be tight. This is because on the kidneys there are antigens which you have previously looked at. Okay? Now, these antigens must be very similar to the antigens of the recipient. So the antigens on the donor kidney must be similar to the antigens of the recipient. Okay? Now, because of this will lead to long waits. It takes a long time to find a donor kidney with similar antigens to the recipient's kidney. So that leads to long waiting times. Okay? Whilst the person is waiting for a kidney, they undergo kidney dialysis. Okay? Secondly, Alright, a person must take for the rest of their life, if they receive a donor kidney, so if they undergo kidney transplant, they must take immunosuppressants. It's in the word. What does it mean? The immune system must be suppressed to stop the recipient's body recognizing the antigens as foreign, thinking that the donor kidney is a foreign invader and attacking it. Okay? This is called rejection. We want to stop the donor kidney being rejected. So for the rest of the individual's life, they must take immunosuppressants, which is seen as a negative. Okay? Now, donor kidneys tend to last anything between 8 to 15 years, but it's more in terms of a percentage. How likely are they to last? If we was to look at it, okay? There is a 90% chance that after 1 year, a donor kidney continues to work and hasn't been rejected. Okay? After 5 years, there's a 70% chance. And after about 10 years, the chance of that kidney still working effectively is 50%. So if a young person has to undergo kidney transplantation, it's likely that they may need to actually have a transplant 2 times in their lifetime, if they're lucky enough to find a donor kidney. And don't forget, guys, it is not easy. You can't just walk into your local shopping centre and find a donor kidney. Okay? Now, if we was to compare the advantages and disadvantages of both, okay? Kidney transplant, the advantages, okay? Patients can lead a better quality of life because they don't have to constantly watch what they eat or drink, and also, okay, they don't have to go for those regular 3 times a week appointments. Don't forget, one appointment can last anything up to 8 hours, okay? So it's a long time. They're leaving a better quality of life. For the National Health Service, okay, of the country where the individual is, okay, it is also cheaper to undergo a transplant. But don't forget, people waiting for transplants must undergo dialysis anyway, okay? Otherwise that urea will not be filtered. Now, dialysis advantages, okay, is that it is available to all. Everybody can undergo kidney dialysis, all right? There's no shortage of dialysis machines, for example. And also, there is no need for the individual undergoing dialysis to take immunosuppressant drugs. However, people that receive a donor kidney must take immunosuppressant drugs for the rest of their life. Remember we said to prevent the donor kidney from being rejected. Okay? There is a shortage of donors, so there's a long waiting lists, but also it might be very hard to find somebody with a donor kidney that has similar antigens to yours. Okay? Donor kidneys don't last forever, 8 to 10, 15 years if you're lucky. Okay? And don't forget, any operation, okay, comes with, alright, its risks in itself. Okay? Now, let's look at kidney dialysis, the disadvantages. The patient must limit their salt and protein intake between dialysis sessions, so it means you have a restrictive diet. That's a disadvantage. Okay? It is expensive, alright, for the health service, alright, and regular dialysis sessions impact your quality of life. They will impact work or school or even just get everyday things such as going shopping because it takes a long period of time. You have to go regularly. Okay? These are the 3. Okay? We have transplant versus dialysis, but don't forget we have 2 types of dialysis, hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. Okay? So, hopefully by the end of this video you're able to explain dialysis and transplant and explain how they overcome kidney failure. Hopefully you're able to analyze the similarities between dialysis and usual kidney function. And finally, hopefully you're able to evaluate the advantages versus the disadvantages of each treatment. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and revise. Mr. Ashodi, signing out.